name is Ed Zerker. I'm the city manager. It is my responsibility to present a trial budget to the community for feedback that the council considers, that the community comments on, and then leads us to June and July when the council approves a final budget for the next fiscal year, which starts July 1st. Before we go any further, I'd like to introduce our Spanish language interpreter, Carmen, and ask her to introduce herself.
Soy Carmen, si necesita intérpretes, pueden hacernos aquí con nosotros.
Thank you. So the city's budget is a big animal. It's about $4.3 billion in total. The general fund is about $1.4 billion, and that's mostly what we talk about because that's a lot of the services, the general services people expect: police, fire, libraries, parks, centers like this, senior services. And so we take most comments on that, but actually in these hearings we hear a lot about everything that's going on for folks, and that's very helpful. I want to thank you for coming to this hearing, and thank our city staff for being here. We have staff from nearly every department in the city. They're here to listen, but they're also here if there are specific questions they can answer them for you. If you'd like to speak this evening, we'd ask you to fill out a speaker's card. You saw when you came in. And then when we call you to speak in a few minutes, if you speak here at the microphone, that allows our Channel 11 crew to get you on tape. This is posted on our Phoenix YouTube channel. It's available 24/7 for people to see. We have a couple other hearings going on at the same time in the city tonight, so we've got people all over the place. But the YouTube channel allows folks to see what other people are saying in other parts of the community. The tabloid we have here gives a lot of detail about what we're proposing. There's even more detail online at phoenix.gov, and we're going to have a short budget video that is an overview of this, but it is not comprehensive of what's in this explanation. So we invite you to take a look at that and give us your thoughts and your comments. With that, I'm going to turn the mic over to our Vice Mayor, whose district we actually are in tonight, here in District 2, and then he will introduce Councilman Stark.
Thank you very much, Ed. So as Ed mentioned, talking about the budget, $1.4 billion. He talked about the number $4.3 billion. He sort of glossed over what the rest of that is. Just for frame of reference, it's a lot of it anyway, the water department and the airport. I guess my point is, it's things you would miss if we suddenly stopped having them. So you don't want to. 4.3 million is really, to me, the important number. In any case, I appreciate very much you coming out. We'll be here sort of as moderate after the presentation. I want to introduce my colleague, Deborah Stark, whose district is just south of here, and so we work together all the time on streets and other issues. So I'll introduce Deborah Stark. Thank you very much for coming to District 2.
I live like 3 miles away, so I'm pretty close. Thank you for everyone here in attendance. We really want to hear what you have to say. We're here to listen tonight and get input from all of you. So please share with us what you think is important. Budget is your money. If you don't want to speak tonight, you can also always send us emails. And I think we have a site online that you can go and make your comments as well, because I know some people don't like to speak in public. So we want to hear from you any way we can, whether it's here or online. Please be a part of the process. Thank you.
All right, with that, we're going to have about an 8-minute video, then we'll come back and give you an opportunity to speak. So we'll be back in about 8 minutes after our video rolls. Thanks.
Welcome to your first look at the City of Phoenix trial budget for 2019-20, proposed by the city manager for public review and comment. The city budget is about people and programs for a stronger Phoenix. Every year, the city prepares a trial budget. This process gives you, our residents, an opportunity to share your priorities and feedback on how tax dollars are spent. 3 important points about this year's budget. It is balanced, which is required by law, and there is a surplus to allocate toward people and programs. Also, for the first time since the recession, ongoing revenues are equal to ongoing costs. We have a nearly $1.4 billion structurally balanced general fund budget thanks to Phoenix's continued strong economy and sound leadership by the mayor and city council. These efforts have led to a projected surplus of $55 million, of which $35 million is in ongoing resources and $20 million is in one-time resources. Over the next several minutes, we'll provide you a high-level view of the recommendations for how that surplus could be spent. Approximately 70% of the surplus is proposed for employee compensation, and the remaining 30% is proposed for services. And $5.5 million to continue investing in the Public Safety Pension Reserve Trust Fund to protect against unexpected downturns in investments. The 2019-20 trial budget continues to provide the core services residents expect. Chief among these is public safety. In addition, many recommendations are focused on improving neighborhoods, parks, libraries, support for outreach and services for people experiencing homelessness, additional street landscape maintenance, and preparations for the 2020 census. The city also continues to invest in maintaining the facilities you depend on and the fleet of vehicles that provide you everything from police response to street cleanups. Besides these proposals, we'll highlight expenditures that help the city address growth in construction and maintain the city's wastewater infrastructure. First, general fund recommendations. The general fund is made up of several different sources of revenue, including sales taxes, state shared revenue, and property taxes. 3/4 of the general fund pays for police, fire, and courts, with a smaller portion, the remaining 25%, going for everything else, like libraries, parks, senior services, arts, and administrative and support functions. The primary focus of the general fund service additions is public safety across a wide array of departments. Here are some of the proposals. 8 new firefighter positions to provide 24-hour operations at Fire Station 55 at I-17 and Jomax Road in North Phoenix. Add funding for 7 sworn fire positions, creating a new ambulance rescue unit at Fire Station 58 to improve emergency response times in Southwest Phoenix. The creation of 1 new fire department crisis intervention unit, and in the police department, de-escalation training and community response services support for officer-involved shootings. These recommendations are based on public feedback from last year's budget process and the city's Traumatic Incident Intervention Resources Ad Hoc Committee. Another key area of public safety funding is focused on improving police support processes, using civilian staff to free up police officers' valuable time for calls and service. First, the addition of 10 civilian positions to support a federally mandated transition to the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting National Incident-Based Reporting System. And second, the addition of 13 positions to streamline police booking procedures and create 2 new centralized booking centers to get officers back on the street faster. The trial budget also provides funding for increased inspection capacity to ensure buildings are meeting fire safety codes. Other public safety allocations: public defender representation for veterans and individuals with mental illness. In human services, add a caseworker and a vehicle to provide mobile victim advocacy. Security guard staffing at every library. Technology funding for cybersecurity to protect the city's infrastructure. In all, the trial budget proposes spending an additional $6.5 million on these and other public safety additions. Now, let's look at where you live, investments in programs to strengthen neighborhoods. First, the budget would allocate approximately $1 million to add staff to work with neighborhood groups, to clean up blight, work with nearby businesses, and improve response times for neighborhood issues. Parks and Recreation would see 8 new park ranger positions to increase patrol coverage of neighborhood and urban parks for a cost of about $1.1 million. Street transportation and public works would support neighborhoods by transitioning staff from a temporary to permanent status to clean up encampments and washes and right-of-way for a cost of $970,000. Historic preservation would also get $75,000 to support historic property preservation. In all, neighborhood revitalization would see an additional $3.5 million in funding. Next, community services additions restore some desired programs to strengthen the community and expand other resident requests, including restoration of Sunday library hours at 4 branches means all libraries will be open to provide greater access to in-demand books, movies, classes, and programs for library patrons of all ages. Expand the Phoenix Teens program for youth at 10 city sites, providing youth programs 6 days per week at a cost of $448,000. Providing case management assistance for homeless seniors and grant funding for arts organizations for youth and underserved communities would also be included. The budget would also add $1.3 million for long-standing street landscape maintenance needs, increasing frequency of maintenance from 3 to 4 times per year. New this year, a proposal to allocate funding to implement participatory budgeting or other projects in city council districts. Lastly, the city will invest in outreach to encourage residents to take part in the 2020 census. Given the move to digital form submission this census, the additional funds will help to ensure hard-to-count and hard-to-reach populations participate, so that Phoenix gets its fair share of the approximately $866 million in annual revenues allocated through federal programs for public safety, transportation, housing, and human services. Overall, added general fund expenditures outlined in the trial budget total $55.2 million and would add 131 positions to strengthen our people, programs, services, and infrastructure. Moving on to propose non-general fund additions for a variety of services. Strengthening our street transportation department with 11 positions added or converted to full-time for a variety of services to support increasing work in the right-of-way and the recently expanded street maintenance funding in the Capital Improvement Program budget, $768,000. Water Services will see 21 positions and approximately $2.9 million in funding to keep up with demand at the department's 91st Avenue treatment site, the state's largest. The site is currently treating 180 million gallons of water a day for more than 2.5 million residents in 5 cities. Finally, 19 positions for planning and development to address increasing construction demand, including reduction of turnaround times for pre-application submittals and complex commercial architectural plans. Added staff to ensure adherence to fire system requirements and ADA accessibility codes, and to maintain a 24-hour turnaround time for residential inspections. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about the 2019-20 trial budget. We hope that you'll review additional details in the budget pamphlet available at one of our 19 community budget hearings and online at phoenix.gov/budget. Please share your feedback in whatever way works best for you, at a public meeting or via email at budget.research@phoenix.gov. You can comment on the city's social media at CityofPhoenixAZ on Facebook or Twitter and use #PhoenixBudget or call us at 602-262-4800. Thank you for being part of this important process.
All right, Councilwoman Stark, we'll call the names. Well, we actually have an on-deck circle if you'd like to be ready to go. We'll call a couple names at a time and go from there.
Okay, so our first speaker will be Gloria Gonzalez, followed by Sandra Weir.
Hi. Hey everyone, I'm really happy to be here. And I don't want to repeat myself, but hopefully we'll get some action in our community. My name is Gloria Gonzalez, and I am representing the Garfield Organization and Neighborhood Alliance formed by the Garfield residents, such as myself, and the sole interest of fostering a stronger sense of community to create a safer, more beautiful, and more connected neighborhood. Now let me tell you why I'm here. In 2008, the City of Phoenix commissioned a preliminary roadway and drainage analysis for 13th Street from Moreland to Van Buren Streets to improve drainage conditions. The intent was to develop alternatives for the installation of curbs, gutters, and asphalt along 13th Street. 11 years later, nothing has changed. Unbelievable. There is still no curbs and gutters, so every time it rains in the valley, especially in this area, 13th Street, the cross streets along the proximity 1 mile long stretch between Moreland to Van Buren become water pools. Residents frequently deal with flooding as water covers sidewalks and enters their front yards and their homes every single monsoon season. Soon after the rain, but before drying out, residents filled with clouds of dust, standing murky water, and mold and debris. This brings us yet to another issue to the residents. Those seeking to park next to their own homes alongside the road of 13th Street would have been ticketed by the City of Phoenix Police for parking on non-dusted proof surfaces. Where else would and could they park? In front of their own home. Clearly, these residents often find themselves in a catch-22 situation that without a doubt would not be tolerated in most communities. Moreover, Garfield Elementary School is located at the southeast corner of 13th Street and Roosevelt, had its main entrance along 13th Street. All children attending Garfield Elementary walk through clouds of dust, water pools, mold, and other debris on a regular basis. For those of us who are unaware, Garfield is also a recognized historical neighborhood adjacent to other historical neighborhoods in the downtown Phoenix area. This has been long overdue, and we're really not asking for much, but please don't forget our children. It's so unsanitary and unsafe. And myself as a senior, I have to breathe all this thing, and I walk through there when I take my daily walks. So please, please, look it up and help us, because we do need something there. Thank you very much for listening. And I do have some pictures.
Thank you. And following Sandra will be Ben Laughlin.
Hello, my name is Sandra Beer, and I honor the opportunity to talk with you, Councilmember Stark, with you, Councilmember Waring, and with the city staff, and to be present with other City of Phoenix residents. I believe that our city will be safer and more vigorous when the general fund surplus is put into programs for our people. Rather than criminalizing those who don't have homes, rather than continuing barriers to youth activities, let's have every library open every day. Let's have all parks open for the activities originally intended to serve changing needs and to foster imagination and community. Phoenix Police are the deadliest police department in the country, and no new general fund dollars should go to them this year. Patrols and security personnel to push the homeless, the mentally ill, and those suffering from addiction from one part of the city to another solve no social ills. I have heard about the convening of deeper conversation among state, county, and city leaders about how to serve those who are mentally ill, and this is promising. I realize that the city is not the only entity that is responsible to address our society's ills or to nurture our community's growth. I will close with a personal note. There was a time when I gave less thought to those whose workdays are spent building up our city only to return home to neighborhoods that are underserved by parks, underserved by libraries, but are over-policed. The labor of those in those neighborhoods subsidized me. And then I met many new friends and associates from those areas south and west of here. I have both learned more and contributed more in my interactions around the community since then. Residents of Districts 2 and 3 have good ideas, and so do residents of Garfield, Maryville, Levine, and around Grant Park. So it is vital that more and earlier participation in the city budget process continue, and I'm glad that that's going to be the case. Thank you very much.
So Ben Laughlin's next, followed by Armando Barres. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Ben Laughlin. Thanks for making time to hear us. Oh, sorry. Like I said, my name is Ben Laughlin. I've lived in Phoenix for just about 5 years, and I've been really excited to hear you all talking about investing in people and programs for a stronger Phoenix, because I think that that is what most of us are here to do, is figure out how to make a stronger Phoenix. There's a few things in the budget that have been really concerning to me, though. Mostly the city is choosing to invest in things that, from what I've experienced and from what I've heard, listening to other folks that aren't going to make our communities any stronger or safer. The money that's going to library security, for park rangers, and the money that's going to be used to clean up homeless encampments is only going to end up harming our neighborhoods. If we are going to get to the root of the issues facing our city every day, we need to invest in the young people, the poor people, and the people of color that are living here. We could be using that money for things like affordable housing, expanding library hours, like Sandy said, leaving all libraries open every day, and free programs for young people. Because a lot of the city programs, they're awesome, but they cost $40 or $80 a child, and that can be a lot for a family. And these are the kind of things that are actually going to make our neighborhoods safe. If we're going to build a stronger Phoenix together, we need to redefine the way that we're thinking about public safety, because continuing to invest in enforcement and criminalization as the way to solve the city's problems is going to way out. Please consider taking the money set aside for library security, park rangers, and encampment cleanup for something constructive rather than destructive.
Armando. And that, Ian Moon will follow Armando.
Good evening, my name is Armando Braz, and I want to thank you for your vast support, City Council, City Management of the library system here in Phoenix, probably one of the best library systems in the country, and we get recognized quite often. And I'm here to ask for your support again to restore the Sunday hours for the 4 remaining branches, Agave, Acacia, District Sage, and District Brew, on Sundays from 1 to 5. As we all know, and probably 99% of the folks in this room have used your local library at one point or another, and I know I used my library in Mesquite when it was closed during those difficult years. I used to spend a lot of time there with my daughter, and when it opened, it was wonderful. And I'm sure the families and residents of those 4 remaining branches are looking forward to those hours. So again, thank you for your past support of the library system, and we hope that you can continue to do that in the future. Thank you.
Okay, as Ian comes up, he will be followed by Jessica Sissel. Sissel?
I just like the Phoenix Teens program. It's really fun, and I made a lot of friends there, and I really feel involved in the program that they have, and it's really fun. And me and all my friends, we get to do field trips and stuff. That's it.
Thank you. So, after Jessica will be Michelle Dew.
did want to talk in support of the Phoenix Teens program. When my kids became teenagers, all of the after school and all of the summer programs really dried up for us and for other families who have teens as well. So we love the Phoenix Teens program for the fact that it keeps our kids engaged. It keeps them, out of trouble. It's keeping them engaged with not only their peers, but also in the community. They've had the opportunity to engage with members of the community that they wouldn't normally have. For instance, they volunteered at an elderly community. They volunteered to provide a children's holiday event and other things like that. So I love the opportunities that it brings for them to be able to connect in their community. They're also learning valuable life skills. They're learning how to interview for jobs. They're learning how to cook. They're learning how to collaborate with their peers and kind of manage up to the program managers. So they're really learning some value added life skills that I think will make them important adults in our community. And so I really just wanted to throw my support in for the Phoenix Teen program. I've loved it, and I know that that my kids' friends, parents love it as well. It's a very engaging program. Thank you for the time.
Where do they primarily access it?
So my kids come here. I know there are quite a few other community centers around the valley that do the teen program as well. Sometimes they come together, and sometimes there's separate events. But they've been able to meet a lot of new people that they wouldn't have normally met. Thank you.
Okay, Michelle is next, followed by Rowdy Duncan.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you, council members, for being here, as well as city representatives. And thank you to Paradise Valley Community Center for hosting this. My name is Michelle Dew, and I teach communication in Maricopa Community College School District, though I'm here today as a private citizen and just sharing my personal thoughts and opinions. So for one of my classes, I take students to volunteer at Andre House of Arizona. I don't know if any of you are familiar with it, but they're dedicated to serving those who are experiencing homelessness. So usually beforehand, students come in with some preconceived notions, and they're not always positive, but I can tell you after this experience, their attitudes change dramatically. As a class, we reflect on how our society often fails those who are experiencing these horrible difficulties. In these reflections, students come to see that we often treat people who are experiencing homelessness in horrible and inhumane ways. We pretend they're not there, we walk past them on the street, and then as a community, we're just not meeting their needs physically and socially. We also discussed that when it comes to this community issue, solutions often look like band-aids rather than sustainable change. So today I'm here to ask you to invest money to help those who are experiencing homelessness rather than putting money in services that hinder their progress. As a city, we can invest this money in services that can help them find housing and stability. By investing in our community and helping meet their basic needs of living, we are better ensuring the public safety for all involved. After all, public safety refers to welfare and protection for everyone. I understand that often when we consider public safety, we think of investing in police department. But I encourage us to reframe the way we think about this, because police, they're created to respond to problems. They're not supposed to fix problems, okay? Again, they're responsive. So if our city truly wishes to help our police departments, we should be looking at addressing and fixing these key issues that calls for their response. So ultimately, if we truly wish to build safe neighborhoods, our city should pour money into programs that help our community thrive. Thank you for listening.
And after Rowdy is Brian, and I don't, M, is that E? Oh, C is, okay, it's a C, I'm sorry.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk. I appreciate the opportunity to address y'all. I really appreciate to speak on behalf of my students. I too work at the Maricopa Community College District. I work at Phoenix College, and I do service learning projects just like Michelle Dew does. The difference is I work at Phoenix College. And I learned at Andre House, 80% of all homeless people are only homeless for roughly 3 months. 80% of all homeless people are only homeless for 3 months. that cycles through over and over again and again. Some of those homeless people, some of those are my students. Some of those people getting arrested, getting kicked out of tents, those are my students. Some of the only places some of my students have the ability to go are libraries for shelter during the heat. Those extended hours would make a huge difference. They don't need security guards. They need hours. They don't need to be arrested for having no place to go and having no home. They need resources that are going to help them get back on their feet. Criminalizing homelessness doesn't do anything to fix the problem of homelessness. And I understand the weight of accountability because I too am a public servant, and I'm seen as someone that must improve and get better. And so when I cast a critical eye to the Phoenix Police Department, how they treat the homeless folks, or how many folks they kill on a daily basis, I feel that weight too. Because when I don't serve my students, when they drop out, when they leave, those futures are squandered as well. So accountability needs to go all the way around. But we really need to think about how we're going to choose to invest our money and make a difference for those that need it the most. Because 80% every 3 months, we know folks, we love folks, we know people that are that close. And we need to invest in some resources that are going to make a difference for people. It would make much more sense to try to create preventative measures than criminalizing my students, throwing them in jail, and forever taking away their opportunity to have a space and place to get an education and forever change the lives of all their families. Thank you.
And then after Brian, it'll be Gary McFadden, or McFadden, okay, I'm sorry.
Hello, my name is Brian Messinas. I'm 17 years old and I live right here in District 2. I actually go to school right over here at Paradise Valley High School. And I'm here today because I would like to see my city become more environmentally conscious and more environmentally friendly. Now, I've seen a lack of civic engagement that exists in our youth, but when it comes to voting, 2016 inspired some major increases in youth voting in the following midterm year, 2018. People my age were once uninterested or indifferent in regards to local and state elections and meeting like tonight's. But this is rapidly changing. We have recognized the threat to our livelihood, our health, our safety, and our ability to have a future, as many of you knew at my age. Our environment is rapidly degrading throughout the world as a result of human-influenced climate change. Past generations, including those of some current state elected officials, were aware of the devastating effects that this would eventually have on our environment and did nothing about it. It is no longer just about acknowledging the issue because it is undeniable. It is about now working together to create solutions to confront the roots of this issue. The City of Phoenix has made great strides in developing a sustainability plan to make the city carbon neutral by 2050. Phoenix could be considered a leader across the country in being green. That is, back in 2009, when the plan was developed. It's been 10 years since then, and circumstances have changed. The United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has given us 11 years until 2030 to implement drastic global solutions to avoid the most severe effects of climate change. I'm here today representing the Arizona Youth Climate Strike, and we ask that the city revisit the Climate Action Plan and provide funding in the budget to implement these actions. We want better, more accessible, and cleaner public transportation, including expansion of the light rail. We want continued planting of trees and increased discussion to address the danger that our growing heat places in areas of Phoenix, like South Phoenix. We want better recycling programs in addition to promotional and financial support for community cleanup programs. We want the city to update building codes to make Phoenix buildings more sustainable and more energy efficient. And we want swift, tangible, and more visible initiatives to capitalize on Phoenix's great potential to utilize solar energy in the city wherever possible. The youth of Arizona have watched for a very long time, but now we're finally ready to act. Thank you.
Following Garrett will be Maya.
Thank you, Councilman Moore, Councilwoman Starks, for allowing us to have this opportunity. My name is Garrett McFadden. My parents grew up in Arizona. They met at ASU after they both attended segregated schools, and they wanted to be teachers. My father hated student teaching so much, he joined the Air Force after he got his degree. when there's a lot of talk about homelessness, we only focus on the veterans and we don't focus on the everyday people. A couple of years ago, I knocked doors for Councilwoman Starks. And after that experience, I got this wild idea that I would run for office. My wife thanks you for that, really.
Go for it.
And during that process, I met and connected with a lot of members of our community. I met this young man, and he was one of the best volunteers I had. He would stay late. And I learned later that his parents had both died, that he had aged out of the foster system. He lived at Cass, a homeless shelter. If you leave 4th Avenue Jail, and you just walk west, you'll run into Cass. And one day, he didn't show up. And when I was there, I got a call a couple days later from the 4th Avenue Jail. He was there. They had found Shake in his car. He's an African-American man. He was in a car with another African-American man. All charges were dropped, but he had nobody in his life that could pay an $800 bond. Well, I could. And before I went there, he needed to get his stuff out of Cass, because Cass has a policy that they will throw away your stuff after 3 days. I was not able to get there in 3 days because of booking times. He couldn't reach me. So when I finally got there, his birth certificate, his driver's license, his social security card had all been thrown away. After taking a tour of Cass, I could not allow this man to go back there. I live right down the street from here, so I moved him into my house. He is now the #1 selling car salesman for a luxury vehicle brand here in Phoenix. Because somebody put time in. I met 2 people who this family that they were living in a tent when I met them. They were living in a tent, and I gave them money so that they could work for me. Usually we make people work 2 days before they get the first check. I gave them their first check. And after that, they were able to build themselves out of homelessness, out of this tent. On election day, they would eventually go and work for Senator Cinema. And on election day, they're standing next to Cinema. Now they have careers working for Pepsi. But they went from a tent to working for Pepsi to having their picture with a sitting senator. And they can't wait for the next cycle to give back. What I'm asking is that we no longer take and waste and squander the opportunities that we have. Right now we have a rapist who has not been caught that went from 28th Street in Cave Creek, just from Cave Creek right south of Greenway, all the way Cave Creek up into what would be known as LD-15. The person hasn't been caught yet. I have noticed no significant police presence in this area. I see more police on a Tuesday at 11 a.m. in the morning in South Phoenix than I have ever seen up here. I'm asking that we police less in these areas and that we have projects, have more people who can help people get out of homelessness, more affordable housing. Thank you guys for your time in this process.
Thank you. Following Mia will be Christy Boatman. Welcome.
Hi Maya, I'm a Phoenix teen and I do a lot of volunteering and volunteer at places like the homeless shelter. We fill boxes like for lunches for people who are homeless. We get to work with the elderly and help a lot of people, and it makes you feel a lot better about yourself because you get to help the community and feel like you make actually a difference. And you learn like a lot of things. Like I even learned how to like change tires on a car, things like that. And then also like interviewing at jobs, and you get to learn like a lot just about like what's coming when you're an adult, and you get to be prepared. Even when you're a kid, you don't really know what's gonna come. But then like it can like prepare you and makes you feel like confident about like what you're gonna do when you grow up, and it just like really helps everyone that's involved because you can help the community. That's all.
You come here to this center?
Yeah, I come here.
Very good.
Following Christy will be Elena Verhoeven.
evening. My name is Christy Bodwin, and thank you, council members, for being here today, and thank you to everybody who's spoken. I find your commitment to our community is inspiring. I'm technically a resident of District 6 as of a couple months ago, but I consider myself a lifelong resident of District 3. I was born in District 3 in Moon Valley. I grew up there, and I went to high school just down the street in District 2 at North Canyon. There we go. I've been, and you know, that libraries that I access are in District 3. So I thought this was a great place to speak because I'm here tonight to speak in support of libraries, and particularly every library every day. I've been an avid library user for my entire life. When I was a kid, my mom would take me to the Mesquite Library over by PV Mall, and we'd check out not only books, but also VHS tapes, which was very exciting to a kid. As I grew up, and when I got my driver's license at 16, the first place that I was allowed to drive by myself with a friend without a parent in the car was the Burton Bar Library downtown. I spent countless hours at the Burton Bar Library doing my homework in Teen Central, and I always came back with CDs this time to use in my Walkman. It wasn't very close, but it was a place where I felt safe and where I felt like I had my own space and where I could be myself, and I loved going there. And now that I'm an adult, I still frequent our libraries. I'm often at Burton Bar and still at Mesquite and at the Juniper branch at Union Hills and 19th Avenue as well. I've always been an avid reader, and these days, some of that's on my tablet, some of that's on my phone, but I just love being at the library in person. It offers a space where I still feel safe, and I know that many others in our community feel that way as well. When I moved back to Phoenix after going to college away for a few years, I was thrilled to see how much the library system had grown here. We offer so many opportunities for people to get involved. You might not know this, but there's a culture pass that the Phoenix Library offers where you can check out the pass for 2 admission tickets for free to different cultural events in the community. There's a seed garden at a lot of libraries where you can check out or really keep seeds to grow your own garden. And there's countless classes and programming for children and adults alike. So it's very important to me that we all have access to our library as much as possible. Currently, there are 17 libraries in the Phoenix Public Library System, and only 2 of those are open every single day. 11 of those libraries are open 6 days a week, which is some progress, but 4 of them are only open 5 days a week. Now, I understand that the city budget has a provision in it currently to increase hours for those 4 libraries that are only open 5 days a week, and I applaud the city management for including that, and I fully support the city council approving a budget like that. But we can do more than that. It's important to have our libraries open every single day. Speaking purely for myself, it's not just how many days the libraries are open, it's hours too. Apologies. Many of us have 9 to 5 jobs, but 9 to 5 doesn't always mean 9 to 5. Usually it's 8 to 6, 7 to 9, other than that. And you know, we can't go to the library if it closes at 5, so that's important. And it's important for children to be able to go to the library during weekdays, especially during the summer when this programming is available. I know that I'll be taking my kids to the library once I have kids. And we'll probably check out some books, and they might not be checking out VHS tapes, they might not be checking out CDs anymore, but they'll probably take a coding class and they'll make their own CDs and music, and all of that comes from the library. And I can't wait, and I hope that our city council continues to support our libraries and increase the hours that we can visit them. Thank you.
Thank you. Following Elena will be Nancy Green.
Hi, my name is Alana Papapa. I live in District 4. Like many of the other comments, very compelling comments this evening, I am very concerned about the city's response to homelessness. 1.7 million that is suggested to be spent on park rangers who move homeless people from the parks and clean their encampments. That money should instead be spent on services for homeless people and for park cleanup and development, for housing and stability and mental health services. These people are very important parts of our community. We should be supporting their stability. I am also a professor in Arizona State University, and the course that I teach is on domestic violence. I understand the very important role that police serve as response in our communities. However, I am very concerned about the Phoenix Police Department and the fact that it is currently the deadliest police force in the U.S. right now. I think that the city should closely evaluate the police department and the police shootings that have occurred over the last year. The city should be funding, rather than giving more money to the police, the city should be funding services for neighborhoods to thrive. It should give money to youth, for people experiencing homelessness, and for other underserved communities. Thank you.
And then following Nancy will be Luke. I got the BL, but after that, the handwriting, is it black or is it bleak? Okay, I'm sorry. I have even worse handwriting, trust me.
Hi, I'm Nancy Reed. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. And I'm here wearing two hats tonight. First and foremost, as a second generation Phoenician with a daughter who would therefore be a third generation Phoenician, I want to thank you for your support of public art and culture in this valley. I can remember growing up, people would say, Phoenix, what do you do there? And there wasn't a whole lot to do in the olden days. And now I have a daughter who I ask, what would you like to do today? And she says, let's get on that light rail and go to the Phoenix Art Museum. So at the ripe age of 8 or 9 or 10, having a daughter who wants to do something like that and a 92-year-old mother who can join us, it's really become a multi-generational thing for us and our family. And we've enjoyed so many wonderful opportunities together in exploring art and culture. And what it's done for my daughter's education and personal development has been extraordinary. She now takes classes coding for art, so that's the only way I can get her to code. So it's really wonderful, and I thank you for your support of the arts and culture. I'm also sitting on the Phoenix Arts and Culture Commission, and in that vein, I'd like to thank you for your support. What we're able to do as a commission with regards to the grants and getting art and culture into multi-neighborhoods that have not been able to enjoy those different possibilities and experiences is tremendous. And as a commission, we've really come a long way, and we have so many wonderful assets, some which need to continue to be maintained, and wonderful facilities where families can enjoy art and culture. So I want to thank you for our amazing support of our amazing public art program, and ask for your continued support. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out, and thank you to the council members for spending the evening with us. This is my 5th budget hearing so far, the 3rd where I've had the opportunity to speak with the city manager. And so I'll quickly cut to the points that I think are really important. There's money in this budget that I think really should be allocated and invested in other areas. The $390,000 for street cleaning, I think Cass has spoken at multiple hearings about $250,000 that they could use. We also have the Garfield drainage issue. That money could be used to help support the Garfield neighborhood. The $336,000 for libraries. We've had multiple families, multiple youths come up and talk about the need for better and more youth programs and kids programs. That is something that I have heard at every single one of these budget hearings. The $1.7 million for park rangers. I think there are lots of parks all over the city that have broken down equipment that need cleanup. As you say in your video, those park rangers are here to patrol, and that doesn't actually help make those parks any better. So I would ask that the money for those park rangers be invested in those parks. I would also point out that in this budget, there's a $2.5 million increase for the Phoenix Police. You all know where I stand on the police. In that $2.5 million, there is $800,000 that is allocated for booking. Which brings me to the next point, is that we have to have $800,000 for booking because the Phoenix police continue to book people. Right? We're not investing in keeping people out of the hands of the Phoenix police. We're simply continuing to throw money into the Phoenix police. Everything that you all have talked about tonight comes out of the general fund. As Council Member Waring pointed out, we're here to talk about the general fund, $1.4 billion. Page 3 of your handout talks about where that money is at. $550 million of that $1.4 billion goes to the police. Everything that we have talked about tonight cannot be funded as long as we continue to put money into the police with no sense of where that money is going, with no sense of accountability. We are talking about building a proactive city with programs that help our community, that invest in the imagination and creativity of our youth, that care for our senior citizens, that care for folks that can't make their ends meet. If we want to live in a city that is strong and vibrant, that has beautiful art programs, that has beautiful parks, we have to invest in those things. We have to spend money on those things. And we cannot do that as long as we are dumping money into the police department. The reality is if we invest in those things, we won't need the police like we do now. So the advantage for us is to spend that money there, right? And so I would ask the council members to think critically about this budget and how we are investing in the people of this city, because there's a lot of really, really great and really easy ways to fund like really positive programs and investments in this city. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all our speakers. One of the speakers mentioned serial rapists, and maybe we could have the police talk about that. I will tell you, last week, after the sexual assault at the animal hospital, it just spiraled into this discussion of serial rapists, and I don't want anyone to leave here and be nervous about that, because that is not correct. So, Commander Van Dorn, I know I spent some time with him last week talking about this issue. I had some frightened neighbors. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. My name's Tom Van Dorn. I'm the commander of your Black Mountain Precinct up here in the North Phoenix area. So several of you, I received, like the council members, several emails and several community concerns regarding the most recent incident involving the vet tech down here on Cave Creek. Let me tell you, it remains an ongoing investigation. The department has released a composite sketch that was compiled when the victim came down and spoke with investigators. We continue to receive calls, tips, and leads to both silent witness as well as Crime Stop. Your patrol officers are out there day in and day out following up and attempting to make contact with everybody that you are calling in on right now. The rumor or the suggestion, like she said though, is in social media, it got started that this particular suspect may be involved in several other sexual assaults that have been reported to your Phoenix Police Department here in North Phoenix. That is not correct. While there have been other reported sexual assaults up here, when we went back and looked at each and every single one of those cases, none of those cases are linked by this current suspect, nor are they even linked to one another. Those other cases that have been reported appear to be where the suspects have all been known because they are tied to some sort of a domestic relationship, and or the victim and the suspect knew one another. So we do want to dispel the rumor that we have a potential serial rapist up here in North Phoenix, because we don't. All right, any additional questions that you may have? Great, thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Sometimes social media can get out of hand, and there was a lot of rumor going about last week on Nextdoor. We did have one speaker card, didn't wish to speak, but Kennedy Peters, and he's very supportive of our youth program, so thank you. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We appreciate it. And we do have several other budget hearings this month. Hopefully you can attend those. If you didn't speak tonight, you may speak at those. But I appreciate all of you coming out. Thank you so much.